All right, you guys, I'm sorry because I think it's fantastic that we're all still so engaged at this end of the afternoon. And so it is a really hard job for an MC to have to wrap things up at the end of the day, particularly when there are still a few things to be said. So thank you for everybody coming back into the room. And I know we've lost people because they've had to travel and get back to other things. But I've got the job of just doing a quick wrap up. And we've had a pretty big day, really. Like, you know, considering that we're only just going on 4 o'clock and we didn't start till 9, we've done a lot today. So we started off this morning in panel discussions with Gail, Shahuli, I probably got that wrong again, Shuali, and Raja, talking about the work that they're doing. So we heard about NICAN and its work, the Discover TT project, and the supported care needs assessment tool that Gail and them have been using with their projects that they're running now. We heard about the work that Shahali, done it again, Charlie has done in Western Australia, trying to unpack beliefs and understanding from Aboriginal people in Western Australia towards cancer. And of course, we heard about the work that Raja's been doing out of the New South Wales Cancer Council to try to improve our understanding and awareness and also help intervene in the cancer journey for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We then went into 2 pretty informative concurrent sessions, one around partnerships and service provision, the second around support. In the one that I was in partnerships and service provision, we had some very engaging discussion and comedy from Rod Hammond, who's very passionate about the things that he believes in. Those who are in the room will understand that, and we'll just leave it there. But really, this man's a passionate radiation oncologist and doing fantastic work in his area to try to make their services more culturally appropriate. Valda, who I think is just a champion, and Valda, again, you know, the work that you've been doing over a long time, I think we just all need to applaud it, because she's been just an advocate for a long time and a champion. And at the moment, the work that she's doing is around, you know, let's go out and yarn to people about lung cancer. Let's yarn along the Murray Valley, along the Murray River. The IROC team, working here across Queensland, taking outreach services around respiratory services out and about. You know, just amazing work. And then we had GM Carr, who came and talked to us about the Alan Walker Centre and the work that they're doing up there in a relatively new centre to try to engage things. And we heard about success. And the important thing that came out of that for me was about we've got to remember to celebrate success. And for him, the success was that they've had, out of 4 years, they've had their first T1 cancer patient come along. You know, like that's a success for them. In the room next door, in talking about support, Monica shared about her work in supporting families and communities. Carolyn and Josie talked about their work trying to support and add value and capacity around the cancer care coordinators. And Carmel spoke about the accredited training that they're doing for peer support groups. And the leaders of those. And of course, Catherine brought to us again the important work that she's doing around palliative care. And we just need to, again, palliative care came up in this group down here, because actually I think that's not saying that we've got the other things ticked, we don't, but the other things are on the agenda. But I think what came out of today, at least in a lot of discussions, was that palliative care, we need to start ramping up our advocacy around palliative care. The trainer sessions after lunch around the well women's and the lung, looking after our lungs. Our lungs, our mob. I wasn't in that session, I was in the well women's. But you know, look, this is important work, and we can all take those resources away and do something in our community in terms of what can I personally do. I'm going to go home and I'm going to work with Lila and we're going to run a well women's workshop this year. You know, the yarning sessions, I think these have been really valuable, and people's engagement here have been really valuable. And I guess I just wanted to end with a few key messages. One is that it's been 10 years exactly this year since we held a national workshop or forum about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cancer. And I don't know if people in the room who were there, but there might be a couple apart from me. I think Lila was there, but I was there. And it was in Darwin, and it was run and supported by Menzies, Cancer Councils. There you go, there were others that were there. And it has been 10 years. But I think, if you guys agree with me, look where we've come. The most interesting thing that hit me yesterday morning was that 10 years ago, the majority of people in that room, I think, were non-Indigenous. Yesterday morning, the majority of the people in the room were Indigenous. So we have come a long way. I think we do have to celebrate our successes. Cancer for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people is on the agenda in a way that it hasn't been for a very long time. If you go back 15 years, we weren't talking about cancer. Back then we had 4 main causes of excess mortality, and people couldn't even contemplate that cancer was going to get up there, let alone take over and be the leading cause. So we have come a long way, and I think we've got to remember where we've come from, as well as have a vision towards where we're going. So some of the key messages. We've had great sort of, lay terms, clinical explanations about what cancer is, what prevalence is like, what statistics is like, what some of the challenges in this space are, the major causes of cancer and the big risk factors. We've heard that the major worries for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cancer patients are things that I think most of us, particularly the Indigenous mob in the room, would have predicted. It's about money and it's about family. And that was articulated, I don't think, anybody could have done it any better than how Archie did it yesterday when he shared his story with us. We had great ideas like a NAIDOC Survivors Walk came up today. So when we're going out on our NAIDOC marches, get your cancer survivors together and put them in a group together and get them to walk along together. There's been some great ideas. I think Lewis Irving, you know what I was going to say, Louis Armstrong. What a wonderful world. No, but we won't sing. It's the end of a really long 2 days. But he told us about one of the critical things for him as a clinician is about helping and supporting his patients to maintain the meaning of life for them. And I have to say, the way he articulated those 4 things were probably the simplest way I've heard them articulated by any clinician ever. Looking after self, looking after relationships, maintaining and strengthening your spirituality and your belief systems, and being attached to nature. And so today when we heard, and everybody heard it, the notion that actually not everybody because it was in our group I think, but Rod, the radiation oncologist, talked about doing his planning, and in the middle of planning, they were all ready to go with an Aboriginal client, and the health worker says, no, sorry, they've got to go back and feel the dirt. And they go, what? We've got everything lined up. We're ready to do the tattoo. We're ready to stage and, but she had to go home and feel the dirt. And then she could come back and do that. I think there's no excuse for any of us to not go away and rethink about where we are in terms of our diet, our level of exercise, our alcohol consumption, and our smoking if we're still smoking, and those 4 issues for the people that we love. There's no excuse for us not to go away and think about those. I want to thank everybody here who's shared their journeys over the last couple of days, and I'm particularly mindful of the fact that there have been cancer survivors in the room. And I think the last thing I'd like to sort of finish with is to say it is really important when somebody you love, somebody you come across, a client, whoever it is in your setting, comes and you find out that they've got cancer, put a survivor in front of them. 2 months' time is 11 years since I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And within 5 minutes of walking out of my doctor, I was sitting in front of a woman who was a survivor for 5 years of breast cancer. And it's the most powerful thing for me because I walked out of that doctor surgery just absolutely floored. And then I'm looking at a woman who's lived for 5 years with it. And all of a sudden I saw hope and possibility. And the next day I went to work, and one of my colleagues at work came up to me and he said, my wife's been living since 30 years since she got diagnosed with breast cancer and had her treatments. I had a mastectomy, had 2 bouts of chemo, I had radiation, I had more surgery, they took my ovaries, they did a whole lot of stuff. Full 12 months of servicing. It's like going to the mechanics. But I'm still here, and it's 12 years for me this year. Put your patients in front of a survivor and let them see what's possible. My baby was 10 months old when I got diagnosed. He turns 12 this year. It's beautiful. So I'd like to finish on one last thing, and it was something again from Louis Irving. And I don't know if everybody saw this yesterday, particularly people down, because it was really small. But what's the secret to giving up smoking? Do it while you're alive. That, I think, is a message for us all to take home. And we're a long time dead people. And we love our families, we love our people. We've got to be around for them. So thank you, and I am going to stop and hand over to Jenny.
Wonderful messages, thank you. I won't keep you long because I know we've had a lot of talk fests and we don't want more of somebody like me talking at you, but I just wanted to thank you on behalf of Cancer Australia for your energy, for your passion, for all of your journeys and insights that you've shared with us. I know personally I've learned so much over the last 2 days, and that's very important for somebody who works in an office. So please go away knowing that at least with some people such as myself, you have really educated us, and the policy and the insights that you've raised have been incredibly valuable to me. Now, we just thought we'd just raise the 3 different objectives for the forum, and I think if you have a look at that and we run through all that we've done in the last few days, I feel we've done all of that and more. I don't know if you would agree with that, but we had a lot of technical discussions yesterday on early detection, treatment and support, but we've had so many more valuable discussions which are about personal journeys and the importance of communication and the power of survivors, etc., etc. So I've learned so much more, and have all of my team, which has been just excellent. Increasing linkages and networks, well, from the energy I've seen around the room and the contacts, I think that's been highly successful, and all of us will walk home with some extra numbers in our pockets or in our phones, and I know I'll be really looking forward to catching up with more of you. And in terms of identifying future priorities for improving cancer outcomes, well, we've had a great yarning session yesterday and today, and a lot of those points we can take back at Cancer Australia and think about our future directions and priorities. So it's valuable to us. But the key aim, I think, was just us all being here, the presence, the criticality of being able to share what we know so that we're all educated a little bit more and have greater understanding. So that's been a major achievement too. And one final thing, we are doing an evaluation. The wonderful KBC team here have been gathering a lot of information from you. Thank you very much for your evaluation forms. So we will also look at the information that comes through to that to inform future initiatives. Now, I just wanted, before we're going to just thank Jacinta and Gail for doing a brilliant job, but I just wanted to put in a quick thank you to the Cancer Australia team who have done this work. They've done an enormous amount of preparation. We've had Simon on media, we've had Jenny and Karen and others on travel, and we've had all of the team, Isabella, Hannah, Donna, Daphne, Naomi, Alex. Have I got everybody?
Jenny.
Oh, I mentioned Jenny before. Oh, me? Yes. Anyway, enormous amount of work, and they've done a brilliant job, so I just wanted to congratulate them.
Okay, I'm the last one, I promise. I just wanted to say, Jacinta brought up the fact that about 10 years ago you were at a forum and Layla was there, and sometimes you do feel like, I know for the last 5 years I've been working in cancer for Aboriginal people, and you do see the same people. You feel like you see the same people at all these types of events, and that's because you do, because they work in it, and it's their energy and all their work that they've put in, their commitment over the years that's bringing about a change. And I know for me personally, I get a lot of encouragement out of Gail and Jacinta, because they're both not only Aboriginal women in leadership positions, but they're just women in positions of leadership, and they're amazing. And so thank you. And I just want to invite Gail and Jacinta up and just say thank you so much for emceeing the forum and for all the work that they do. So Gail heads up obviously the Indigenous research at Menzies, and Jacinta at JCU in Queensland, but then they also volunteer their time, and they sit on not only the Cancer Australia board but our advisory network, and they steer committees, and they're just amazing women, and so we just want to honour them today. So thank you.